आदरणीय दर्शक तथा श्रोता महानुभावहरू नमस्कार एवं शुभ प्रभात। क्यालगरी क्यानाडाबाट प्रसारण भइरहेको नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीको यस विशेष कार्यक्रममा म प्रस्तुता पूजा ढकाल र आज प्रविधिमा साथ दिँदै हुनुहुन्छ रमेश बस्नेतज्यू। हामी दुवैजना तपाईहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत तथा न्यानो अभिवादन व्यक्त गर्दछौँ। श्रोताहरू, तपाईँ अहिले रेडियो एफएम 106.7 मेगाहर्जबाट एनसीएससीद्वारा निर्मित नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीको प्रत्यक्ष प्रसारण सुन्दै हुनुहुन्छ। साथै यो कार्यक्रम तपाईँहरूले नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीको फेसबुक पेज र युट्युब च्यानल मार्फत लाइभ सुन्दै र हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। आज 393औं श्रृङ्खलामा हामी फ्रम अल्बर्टा क्लासरूम टु हेल्थ रिसर्च नेभिगेटिङ एजुकेसन पाथवेज इन क्यानाडा भन्ने शीर्षकमा कुरा गर्दैछौँ। दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरू, आज मे 2, 2026 शनिबार अर्थात् नेपाली मिति अनुसार विक्रमसम्म 2083 साल वैशाख 19 गते सदाझै आज पनि हामी यहाँहरू समक्ष उपस्थित भइसकेका छौँ र हरेक हप्ता झैँ आज पनि हामी यहाँहरू समक्ष सूचनामूलक समुदायसँग जोडिएका र प्रेरणादायी विषयवस्तुहरू लिएर उपस्थित भइसकेका छौँ। आजको कार्यक्रममा हामीसँग जोडिनुभएका सम्पूर्ण दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरूलाई हार्दिक स्वागत गर्दै यो कार्यक्रम लगायत विगतका हाम्रा सबै कार्यक्रमहरू तपाईँहरूले हाम्रो नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगरीको फेसबुक पेज र युट्युब च्यानलमा गई हेर्न र सुन्न सक्नुहुनेछ भन्ने जानकारी पनि गराउँछौँ। कृपया हाम्रो फेसबुक पेज र युट्युब च्यानललाई लाइक, सेयर र सब्सक्राइब गर्नुभएको छैन भने गरिदिनु हुनको लागि पनि अनुरोध गर्दछौँ। साथै आफ्ना सुझाव, सल्लाह तथा प्रतिक्रिया पनि हामीहरूलाई दिनुहुनको लागि अनुरोध गर्दछौँ, किनकि तपाईँहरूको माया, साथ र सद्भावले नै हामीलाई आगामी दिनहरूमा अझ प्रभावकारी र गुणस्तरीय कार्यक्रमहरू प्रस्तुत गर्नमा प्रोत्साहन मिल्नेछ। अब कार्यक्रमलाई अगाडि बढाउँदै आजको विशेष विषयतर्फ लिएर जान चाहन्छु। आज हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ एक प्रेरणादायी व्यक्तित्व जो चाहिँ अल्बर्टामा बाल्यकाल बिताएर लकममा हुर्किनु भएकी र हाल क्यालगरीमा आफ्नो शैक्षिक तथा अनुसन्धान यात्रा अगाडि बढाइरहनु भएकी सरिना अर्यालजी। उहाँले ब्याचलर अफ हेल्थ साइन्सेस पुरा गरी सन् 2024मा मास्टर्स इन साइन्स सम्पन्न गर्नुभएको छ। हाल उहाँ युनिभर्सिटी अफ क्यालगरीमा रिसर्च एसोसिएटका रूपमा कार्यरत हुनुहुन्छ, जहाँ उहाँ डायबिटिज केयर र समाजका विभिन्न समुदायहरूका लागि स्वास्थ्य सेवा सुधार सम्बन्धी महत्त्वपूर्ण अनुसन्धानमा संलग्न हुनुहुन्छ। सरिनाजी, आजको कार्यक्रममा हामी तपाईँलाई हार्दिक स्वागत गर्दछौँ।
Thank you. Namaste everyone. मेरो नाम सरिना अर्यालो अनि पूजा दिदीले भने I am a research associate at University of Calgary अनि मेरो childhood चाहिँ Alberta मै grow up भएको. So yeah, thank you.
सबैभन्दा पहिले तपाईँको यो सुन्दर यात्राका लागि धेरै धेरै बधाई छ। हाम्रो कार्यक्रमका दर्शकहरूसँग तपाईँको अनुभव बाँड्न आइदिनु भएकोमा पनि धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। अब भने म तपाईँलाई आफ्नो सरिनाजी, तपाईँको आफ्नो बाल्यकाल होइन अल्बर्टामा कहाँ र कसरी बित्यो, त्यो अनुभवले तपाईँलाई कस्तो खालको प्रभाव पार्यो, साथीहरू कस्ता थिए होइन, त्यहाँ बसेको ठाउँमा चाहिँ पपुलेसनहरू कस्तो थियो, कल्चरल डाइभर्सिटीहरू कस्तो थियो, त्यो बारेमा बताइदिनुहोस् न।
Yeah, for sure. म अलिक कन्टेक्स्टको लागि चाहिँ नि हाम्रो फ्यामिली 2002मा क्यालगरी आएको थियौँ फ्रम पिआर गरेर अनि 2002देखि 2004सम्ममा हामी क्यालगरीमै बस्थ्यौँ अनि त्यो बेला चाहिँ नि बाबाले मास्टर्स गरिरहेको थियो युनिभर्सिटी अफ क्यालगरीमा एन्ड सो हाम्रो पहिला बाबाले सधैँ भनिन्छ हाम्रो पहिला प्लान कहिले पनि थिएन लकहोम अल्बर्टा जाने, त्यो ठाउँको नाम पनि थाहा थिएन हामीलाई कहाँ हो के हो भनेर थाहा थिएन, तर जब अपर्च्युनिटी पाइसक्यो बाबाले त्यहाँ अनि हामी 2004मा मुभ गऱ्यौँ। सो 2004मा म मेबी लाइक 3 कि 4 years old थिएँ। So मेरो entire childhood, you know, त्यो बेलासम्म until high school graduation, so 18 वर्ष 18-year-old सम्म त्यही बिताएको थिएँ। In terms of look home कस्तो थियो obviously look home चाहिँ context को लागि Edmonton र Calgary को बिचमा छ essentially अनि 20 minutes north of Red Deer. So luckily अब Edmonton जान पनि सजिलो थियो, Calgary आउन पनि सजिलो थियो, so आउनी जानी थियो luckily and मेरो धेरै साथीहरू पनि यही छ Calgary मै childhood साथीहरू, so that was lucky. But in terms of look home, हाम्रो population diversity त्यति थिएन, especially हामी पहिला 2004 मा आउँदाखेरि I think बाबुले भन्छ थियो हामी मात्रै थियौँ नेपाली essentially. अनि even like Indianहरू कि अरू Asian populations थिएन at the time. So it was interesting. तर सबैजनाको मनमा चाहिँ maybe that's kind of केही racism थियो कि केही त्यस्तो थियो कि मलाई लागेको थिएन त्यस्तो. Like look home एकदमै strong, the close-knit community थियो. And so सबैजना एकदम like चिन्नी जान्नी, like everybody knew everybody. So that was really nice. साथीहरू पनि मेरो धेरै जसो obviously खैरेनै थिए. But मेरो best friends अनि Laosबाट. So that was nice. हामी both Asians थियौँ अनि त्यसको like हाम्रो त्यो पनि connection थियो अलि different cultureबाट आउने, but majorityहरू white friends, lots of farming families थियो त्यहाँ. So very nice people. And look home चाहिँ like honestly भन्यो भने childhood like probably मेरो like very fond छ and probably one of the best things that happened in my life. एकदमै stable, safe, happy community थियो, and I think that has a lot to do with why I'm so successful, right? Because childhood is very important. I hope that answers the question.
धन्यवाद तपाईलाई. क्यानाडाको शिक्षा प्रणाली केवल पढाइमा मात्रै सीमित छैन. यो एउटा यस्तो यात्रा हो जहाँ अवसर, मेहनत, समर्पण र लक्ष्यले भविष्य निर्माण गर्छ. तपाईमा यो बिल्कुलै लाग्यो हुन्छ र तपाईलाई अब आफ्नो बाल्यकालको कुराहरू त तपाईले हामीसँग शेयर गरिदिनु भएको छ. अब एजुकेसनको कुराहरू गर्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईलाई क्यानाडाको शिक्षा प्रणालीमा आफ्नो रुचि अनुसार अगाडि बढ्ने अवसर चाहिँ कस्तो अनुभव गर्नुभयो तपाईले?
Honestly, Canadian education system मेरो धेरै राम्रो experiences छ. And one of the things the Canadian system एकदमै राम्रो गर्ने चाहिँ education चाहिँ एकदमै stressful situations जस्तै लाग्दैन थियो, okay? Especially from kindergarten till at least grade 9. Everything was activity based अनि instead of के भन्छ like एकदमै memorization भन्दा पनि like concepts understand गर्ने learning अलि more than memorization, like activity based अनि त्यसरी पढाउँथ्यो. So that was really nice. अनि high school देखि चाहिँ अलि हाम्रो traditional studying को mentality जस्तै हुन थाल्यो. अब more like more effort लाउनु पर्ने. And I think pros and cons छ हैन, like if एकैचोटि high school मा you're expected to kind of learn how to study, तर पहिला चाहिँ maybe you weren't taught that, so that could be a little bit challenging for some. But in terms of everything, I think the Canadian system sets you up very well for success in what you want to do. One of the things I will say about the Canadian system is that अब foundation दिन्छ, but आफ्नो interest लाई explore गर्न चाहिँ आफ्नो initiative लिनुपर्छ. Like nobody's gonna come and put things in front of you and say this is what you should do or do you like this, हैन? आफैले त्यो motivation लिनुपर्छ and आफैले गर्नुपर्छ. And so मेरो लागि त्यो interestहरू spark गर्न चाहिँ मेरो mommy daddyले एकदमै effort र time राखेर गर्छ थियो, especially अब grade 8 to 9 देखि चाहिँ slowly अब के गर्न मन लाग्छ futureमा, like के मन पर्छ स्कुलमा, like त्यो conversations आउँथ्यो बिस्तारै अनि त्यसको मेरो answers अनुसार यो careersहरू like consider गर, आफ्नो research गर, त्यो त्यसमा के interest छ भनी भन. And so त्यसरी बिस्तारै like it was slow होइन like grade 8 देखि like I just kept thinking okay these are all these options out there what fits best with my interest भनेर सोच्दै गरेर research गर्दै गरेर भयो so again I think Canadian education system they give you the tools and the tools to do it but you have to yourself really put in the time and effort to figure out what your interest is and find opportunities in that way.
Okay. धन्यवाद भनिन्छ जुनसुकै यात्रा सुरु गर्नु अघि चाहिँ चुनौतीहरू हुन्छन् अथवा अवसरहरू खोज्दै जाँदाखेरि हैन अनि ती अवसरको साथसाथै चुनौतीहरू पनि हुन्छन् अब तपाईले चाहिँ ब्याचलर देखि मास्टर सम्मको पढाइको यात्रामा के कस्ता अवसर र चुनौतीहरू सामना गर्नु पर्यो यसको बारेमा पनि अलिकति भनिदिनुस् न
That's a really good question. In terms of like challenges, I think I'm very lucky. This though very challenging my lag in terms of like hardships that are made of main challenge to me. I think in bachelors, especially in made of bachelors, was and I think most people will find this too. Like research ko matra haina, but the opportunities pauna felt like sabai network on side, right? So I didn't know very many people here and I didn't know very many professors for example here so त्यो network or connection established garna chani ali challenging नै थियो in my bachelor's and luckily like हाम्रो research based मेरो bachelor's of health sciences is an honors based research program so पछि chani professors classroom professors हरूले help गर्थ्यो like connect garna but originally chani I think that was a big challenge is trying to find those opportunities but in terms of like I said people would help connect you and there are opportunities. I think one of the things that you have to think about is you can't like kind of start off with a big aspiration. I think you got to start a little bit lower and start with volunteering or those kind of opportunities and this ani bisare your network will grow and your connections will grow and this more and more opportunities will come your way. At least that's what I found.
धन्यवाद यसको लागि पनि तपाई बाल्यकाल 2 वर्षमा चाहिँ क्यानाडा मुभ भएको आफ्नो मम्मी बुवासँग भन्नुभयो हैन अनि त्यसपछिको यात्रा अहिलेसम्म आइपुग्दाखेरि एकदम प्रेरणादायी छ हामी अझै पनि कुरा गर्नेछौं दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरू यदि तपाईहरु पनि आफ्नो बच्चालाई आफ्नो छोराछोरीहरुलाई चाहिँ कसरी युनिभर्सिटी सम्म लिएर जाने अनि उहाँ हाम्रो आजको गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ उहाँले चाहिँ आज धेरै कुराहरु हामीलाई चाहिँ दिदै हुनुहुन्छ तपाईहरु पनि सुन्न चाहनुहुन्छ तपाईहरुसँग पनि क्वेशनहरु छन् युनिभर्सिटी कसरी फाइन्ड आउट गर्ने अनि आफ्नो पाथलाई चाहिँ कसरी लिएर जाने भन्ने कुराहरुको बारेमा भने चाहिँ आफ्नो छोराछोरीलाई कसरी सही गाइडेन्स दिने उहाँले कसरी आफ्नो आमा बुवाहरुबाट पाउनुभयो भन्ने जान्न चाहनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि चाहिँ हामीसँग कनेक्ट हुनुहोस् र तपाईहरुले क्वेशन गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ यसो भन्दै अब फेरि तपाईको आफ्नो जर्नी तर्फ लिएर जान चाहन्छु यो चाहिँ छ तपाईले आफूले तपाईको आफ्नो युनिभर्सिटी लाइफको बारेमा कुरा गर्न गइरहेको जो चाहिँ तपाईको क्यालगरी सँग चाहिँ एक्सपीरियन्स रहिरहेको छ हैन युनिभर्सिटी अफ क्यालगरीमा पढ्दा तपाईको अनुभव चाहिँ कस्तो रह्यो हाम्रो धेरै भाइ बहिनीहरु हाम्रो धेरै छोराछोरीहरु हुनुहुन्छ जो चाहिँ हैन क्यालगरीमा हैन अथवा अरु कुनै आफू बसेको ठाउँबाट आफ्नो बुवा आमाहरुबाट पर भएर अझै एक्सप्लोर गर्न चाहनुहुन्छ अझै त्यो युनिभर्सिटी राम्रो त्यो राम्रो हो भनेर जान चाहनुहुन्छ तर तपाईले चाहिँ यहाँ क्यालगरीमा चाहिँ कस्तो अनुभव पाउनु भयो के सजेस्ट गर्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरुलाई
Yeah, they're a great question honey. I think my kind of दुईटै questions answer गर्न मिल्छ because मैले move गरे थिएँ for university so त्यो experience को बारेमा पनि कुरा गर्छु in terms of कसरी choose गर्ने university I think त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै high school मै एकदमै time लिएर एकदमै research गरेर program अनुसार हेरेर अनि आफ्नो interest हेरेर गर्नुपर्छ I don't think अब यो यहाँ नजिकै छ भनेर म यही जान्छु भन्ने पनि त्यो I wouldn't recommend हैन तर if it is here मैले मेरो बहिनीलाई भन्छु यहाँ पनि like कुनै for example kinesiology यहाँ एकदमै राम्रो प्रोग्राम छ
हजुर।
सो उसलाई म जिस्काउँछु अब तिमीलाई किनेसियोलोजी स्टडी गर्न मन छ भने युबिसी किन जाने यहीँ राम्रो छ तर उसलाई हुन्छ नि त्यो सल्लाह दिन्छु सो I think it's really dependent on the university. Ani, in terms of moving away from family, my first year cinema, like honestly, quite difficult. It was kind of hard. Aba हाम्रो नेपाली culture, हाम्रो नेपाली families are एकदमै close with some, right? Like we, हाम्रो socialization and like to be honest, like मेरो family members are like my friends. I know मेरो baiनी is really close to me. हामी साथी जस्तै छौँ. And now that I'm an older adult too, मेरो parents are like my friends. So my first time move गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एकदमै homesickness भएको थियो for sure. I was 1 year I was really sad that I had to be here and like not every day with my parents. But I would say that I think that त्यो experience actually एकदमै common हो in terms of university, but कसैले कुरा गर्दैनन्. I think people don't talk about it enough and they kind of are like, oh, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm here. So I just want to say homesickness is very common experience and that it shouldn't deter you because you do need to progress and you do need to kind of make your own life and kind of move forward, but don't be ashamed of it. Like talk to your friends about it. I would like have whole conversations with some of my friends who also moved away for college about this, and that was really helpful. So again, I think moving away, depending on what your interest is completely normal. But in terms of, I'll talk about now, like University of Calgary specifically, and मैले किन choose गरेँ University of Calgary. University of Calgary is a very leading top research university अहिले. It's young and emerging. So त्यो भएर पनि मलाई एकदमै interest भएको थियो. अनि specifically मैले high schoolमा after conversations with mom and dad, I wanted to do something related to helping people. I know. So my whole goal in terms of my career was, what can I do to have a positive impact on my community, and how can I go about doing that? And so as I went through, different volunteering opportunities, like I volunteered at like the हाम्रो local hospital ma, अनि like अरू childhood programs हरूमा पनि volunteer गरेको थिएँ. I came to realize, okay, maybe मलाई health ansarko career गर्न मन लाग्छ. And so when you think about health, I mean, the first thing you think about is, being a doctor or being a nurse. And so originally I kind of thought maybe I want to go in the medical field, maybe I want to be a doctor. But I thought that. And so when you think, obviously, सबैजनालाई थाहा छ doctor हुनलाई एकदमै मेहनत गर्नुपर्छ, you need to stand out to get into medical school. So I really took that seriously in grade like 10, and I started volunteering anywhere I could. And Lokoma, let's be honest, volunteering opportunities are there, like hospital here, and that's about it. And everybody volunteers at the hospital. Like that's not going to look anything outstanding. I came up with this idea to create a summer-based program for children to come out to the park and like do different physical activities. The whole spin about that program was to get them away from their tablets and computers and actually enjoy the outdoors like I did in my childhood. But I've been kind of seeing a trend of maybe people getting not so much wanting to go out into the parks anymore. I created that program with some of my friends. And through that program, I met a person named Robin. She was what we call a AHSMA health promotion facilitator. And health promotion facilitators are nurses, they're not doctors, they're not nurses. They are public health specialists that try to bring programs and initiatives to हाम्रो communities to create healthier lifestyle and again promote health, and that includes like physical activity, talking about like vaccines and vaccine hesitancy, education, all those kinds of things. So I met her, and she was a really good resource for the program. Like the tools there थियो, कुन activitiesहरू राम्रो हुन्छ kidsहरूलाई भन्ने पनि like सल्लाह दिएको थियो. But पछि चाहिँ she invited me to this conference. And it was a conference full of teachers and full of health promotion facilitators and kind of like public health representatives. And it was all about healthy schools and healthy children conference. And she wanted a student perspective. And so she asked me to come, and it was quite nerve-wracking because I was the only like 15-year-old there in front of a room full of all these adults. So that was a little bit intimidating. But I went, and then that's when I learned about public health, and that's when I learned about research and about things that are in health that are beyond our narrow vision of just the medical system and like working in that way. Ani त्यसपछि I came back home from that conference, and I think I like went to mom and dad, and I was like, I think I know what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like this is what I want to do.
Okay.
Ani त्यसपछि I found that goal, and I was tunnel vision from there. I knew what I wanted to do. Ani मैले search गर्दाखेरि how can I get into public health? I came across the University of Calgary Bachelor of Health Sciences page. And I would recommend for students to really dig into all of those websites, and like I would spend like hours on the weekend like just reading through things. And I'm a little bit nerdy, so maybe you don't want to do as much as I did, but I would recommend looking through some.
Okay.
So I read through everything and like looked at UBC, looked at U of A, looked at the ones in Ontario like University of Toronto or Western, all of the universities. I tried to look at least broadly, and then I found that University of Calgary program is well suited for me. Kinabani, it's a research intensive program. Ani मलाई थाहा थियो I wanted to do research. Ani another thing was it was a smaller cohort. So universities are typically, for example, biology you're gonna be one student of like thousands in your 1 year. I know within like the graduating year of, let's say, 2028, you will be one of thousands. But the Bachelor of Health Sciences program, you would be one of maybe at like 100. So class sizes would be smaller, and you'd have more targeted one-on-one education. You'd get to know your professors more closely than, let's say, you're in a class full of like 500 people. I know. So that was one of my considerations there, and those are things that you should think about as well. And so that's it. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted there with how I chose University of Calgary.
धन्यवाद. हामी अहिले यही क्यालगरीमै बसेका छौँ. स्पेशली क्यालगरीमा हुने प्यारेन्ट्सहरूको लागि अवश्य पनि यो चाहिँ एउटा प्रेरणादायी संवाद भयो भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई. तर तपाईले अघि कुरा गर्दै गर्दा भोलिन्टियरिङको कुरा गर्नुभएको थियो. म आफै पनि मेरो छोरो चाहिँ 11 मा पढ्दैछ र भोलिन्टियरको महत्त्व चाहिँ कस्तो के छ हैन. स्टुडेन्टहरूले स्कुल लाइफमा अथवा हाई स्कुल अथवा कलेज वा युनिभर्सिटीमा चाहिँ कहाँ कसरी भोलिन्टियर गर्न सक्छन्. मेरै बाबुले पनि मलाई गर्नु छैन अथवा त्यस्तो भनिरहेको समयमा चाहिँ यसको महत्त्व के छ अलिकति जोड दिनु न तपाईले आफूले चाहिँ त्यसरी आउनु भएको भएर.
Yeah, no, एकदमै राम्रो question, and I think many students हरूको पनि त्यही perspective छ हैन. म पढ्छु मात्रै volunteer गर्न like केही जरुरी छैन. And yeah, to an extent you can go to university and without a volunteering opportunity. Tara, I think the importance of volunteering is to know what you end up liking, right? It's an opportunity for you to figure out what you want to do without having committed to a program, for example, or without having committed to a career. And I'm not saying that, you're going to volunteer and then you're going to like find exactly what you want to do with the rest of your life, but that will narrow the list down. I know. So I think volunteering, one, is really good for the community, and I like serving my community, but in terms of afno interests, like Bunny, it helps develop those interests, and it helps you know yourself and what you are capable of, or maybe know yourself and be like, you aspect ma work on. So for example, if you're volunteering my sister's volunteering at starting to volunteer at the zoo right now, the Calgary Zoo. And so she has to go and talk to people about the animals and teach them. So for example, if you are in the opportunity and you realize, oh, I actually get really nervous talking to people. So then you can work on that skill, Aina. And so when you work on it in this low pressure environment, you're going to do really good when you go into an interview, for example. So through skills developed garna lai pani it's really important. Kinabani through usually, I mean, ali hunsa in school teaching ma presentations or the dinu parsa, but real life ma ali different unsa than the school environment. And so volunteering can help you build those skills outside of the classroom setting, which is super important for when you're an adult and you're living life as an adult, because it's very different.
Thank you so much. तर भोलिन्टियरिङ त्यो अपर्च्युनिटी सर्च गर्ने टिप्स पनि भनिदिनुहोस् न त, जस्तो हाम्रो बच्चाहरू प्यारेन्ट्सहरूले आफ्नो बच्चालाई चाहिँ इन्करेज गर्नुहुन्छ अथवा आफैले पनि सर्च गरेर ल तिम्रो चाहिँ योमा इन्ट्रेस्ट राखिरहेको छौ, तिमीलाई चाहिँ काम लाग्न सक्छ, तिमी यसलाई चाहिँ हेर भन्ने खालको हुन्छ, टिप्सहरू दिनुहोस् न है।
हुन्छ मेरो experience अलि different थियो, because Lacombe एकदमै smaller community थियो, and honestly भन्यो भने Lacombe volunteer positions competition थिएन। यहाँ मैले notice गरेँ, especially because मेरो बहिनी is in high school, उसको experience अलि different छ, किनभने Calgaryमा very big, much bigger population than Lacombe. And Lacombe go maybe 14,000 people, and yeah, millions. Ani I think millions. So yeah, it's any ali competition unsa, but I don't think that should discourage you, because mero boinile obviously buy, right? So ulesani ke gari bani, school is a really good way to start. School ma clubs are unsa, where you can join and you can get those connections, and through clubs and schools you can get connected to different organizations. So for example, next week, University of Calgary Goyuta Research Group is doing a run for colorectal cancer awareness. And so Mero Boini is going to be volunteering there, but she found out about that opportunity through me. But she realized, oh, actually the school is promoting this too. So I didn't need to go through you. So opportunity school but pani bounce. And त्यहाँबाट if you continue to connect with the volunteer coordinators and say मलाई interests ha yo मेरो email ho, if there's an opportunity please reach out, मलाई volunteer गर्न मन लाग्छ, त्यसरी सुरु गर्ने हो. It's a little difficult, and it took her a year to get a solid volunteer position. But if you put in the effort and you keep showing up to the smaller kind of sessions and the smaller experiences, you can find a more stable one, like something at the hospital, for example, or something at the zoo. I think there's also, when you're 16, you can help out at the Children's Cottage Society here. So you're helping with kids who are going through kids whose families are going through a little bit of social challenges, and you can spend time with them there and kind of babysit them and play with them. So that's another place to look. I think if you just go and look at volunteer opportunities on Google in Calgary, you can find a list of them and start reaching out to those organizations.
धन्यवाद. अवश्य पनि हाम्रो जति पनि प्यारेन्ट्सहरूले अभिभावकहरूले हेरिरहनु भएको छ, आफ्नो बच्चा आफ्नो छोराछोरीहरूलाई चाहिँ स्कुल एजदेखि नै एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलमहरूमा एक्टिभिटिजहरूमा चाहिँ इन्करेज गर्नुपर्ने होइन, उनीहरूले केमा इन्ट्रेस्ट देखाइरहेको छन् त्यो कुराहरूमा चाहिँ बढी चासो दिएर चाहिँ पार्टिसिपेट हो है, तिम्रो पछि करियरमा चाहिँ यसले हेल्प गर्नेछ भन्ने कुराहरू चाहिँ सजेस्ट गर्नु पर्यो भनेपछि स्कुल एजदेखि नै यस्ता खालका प्रोग्रामहरू चाहिँ तयार हुने गरेका छन् होइन. अब यसैसँग अलिकति एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलम एक्टिभिटिजहरूको कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो स्टुडेन्ट लाइफमा यसले कस्तो महत्त्व राखेको छ तपाईँको आफ्नो अनुभव अनुसार छोटकरीमा भनिदिनुहोस् न, अनि त्यसपछि फेरि तपाईँको आफ्नो करियर अथवा तपाईँको आफ्नो स्टडीतर्फ अथवा रिसर्चतर्फ क्वेसन लिएर जान चाहन्छु.
Okay, so to repeat the question,
extra curricular
custody मेरो student life and the balance.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Extra high school, to be honest, high school, I found it pretty easy to do that. And one thing to think about is my litany, in terms of extracurriculars and volunteering, मेरो jobs, I didn't have a job, but a job is also an extracurricular, and you should consider that if you want to do that. And it's all about time management. I know you have, I mean, it's boring stuff, but you have a calendar on your phone and you time block, and this it's not too difficult. And depending on what your course load is, you can do it as well. I think you have to reflect on yourself and say, what am I able to handle? Because I don't think you should take more than you can handle. And if you find that you're getting overwhelmed, take that extracurricular way. That's okay. Or maybe, find an extracurricular that doesn't have as much hours or like as much effort needed. You can always kind of do that so that you can keep a balance in your life. If that answers your question.
थ्याङ्क यू धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद अब भने म तपाईँको आफ्नो फेरि स्टडी रिसर्चतर्फ लिएर जान चाहन्छु तपाईँलाई चाहिँ युनिभर्सिटीको अध्ययनको क्रममा होइन तपाईँले हेल्थ साइन्सेस रोज्नलाई चाहिँ के कुराले प्रेरित गर्यो अघि पनि अलिकति छाउनु भएको छ होइन अनि हाम्रो नयाँ जति पनि विद्यार्थी भाइ बहिनीहरू हुनुहुन्छ उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ हामी हेल्थ साइन्सेस किन रिकमेन्ड गर्ने सुझाव किन दिन चाहनुहुन्छ यसको बारेमा
Okay, it's just to double check. Why should you choose health sciences? Okay. Health sciences, Sunny, I think is a really good program for anyone who wants to do something health related. Health sciences program actually, middle classmates, majority wanted to go to medical school. And to be honest, majority of them did go to medical school. So if you are considering medical school, highly recommend health sciences degrees and programs. You Calgary ma matre special China. You can get a health sciences degree. I know I think in Ontario at Queen's the McMaster's is also really good for health sciences. So if you are looking for a job that is related to improving the health outcomes of whether it just be one patient or whether it be your community, I think health sciences is the way to go. If you like science, if you like doing, school it's a scientific method. So you come up with a question, you test it out, and then you keep repeating. This definitely do it. Yeah, and I think specifically for you, University of Calgary, Bachelor of Health Sciences program, one of the things that I highly recommend is if you don't really like writing, I don't know if it's the best for you. It's a very writing intensive course or program. But if you enjoy science and writing, I think it's a perfect fit for anyone who wants to do that.
धन्यवाद धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद अब चाहिँ दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरूलाई एकचोटि फेरि पनि म चाहिँ जानकारी दिन चाहनुहुन्छ आज हामीसँग हुनुहुन्छ सरिना अर्यालज्यू र उहाँको हामीले चाहिँ रिसर्च र करियरको बारेमा कुरा गर्न गइरहेको छौँ उहाँले चाहिँ अहिले तपाईँ आफू चाहिँ रिसर्च एसोसिएट हुनुहुन्छ हैन यो क्षेत्रमा प्रवेश कसरी गर्नुभयो तपाईले यसको बारेमा पनि भनिदिनुस् न
Oh, for sure. Research associate position, I think it's a really good example or मेरो example एकदमै राम्रो छ because it ties into सबै पहिला high school देखिको effort all the way to now. अनि basically के भयो भने bachelor's पछि मैले master's गर्ने भन्ने like idea आयो and I knew I wanted to do it right away. अनि मैले master's को program हरु हेर्दाखेरि मलाई supervisors हरु खोज्नु पर्ने थियो and so मैले universities हरुको web master's programs ma gaera supervisors haruko list pauncha and so मैले सबैजनाको research हरुको बारेमा पढे and I came across Dr. David Campbell and मैले उसको research पढ्दाखेरि I was like oh this is exactly something I would like to do किनभने एकदमै अब आफ्नो community like help पनि गर्न मिल्छ through his program of research a little more directly. All research definitely helps your community that his research specifically felt more integrated with the community and so I reached out to him and I said hey I'm really interested in doing my master's. I think that you have a really interesting research program that I would like to join in and unfortunately at the time he wasn't able to take me on as his like own student but he continued to work with me and connected me to my master's supervisor, Dr. Karen Tang, and he was my co-supervisor for my master's. And so when I was doing my master's defense, मैले like offhandedly bhanethi, like in my future career, I would really like to do what we call community-based participatory research. And that research is actually really unique in that we go to communities. Like, for example, if I wanted to do a study on Nepali people and their understanding of diabetes, or like the diabetes program related to Nepali community, I would come to the community and ask them, what do you want to study? What is important to you? Ani मैले त्यो सोध्छु with the community, and the community would tell me what they want to study. So I really like that approach. And so मैले bhanethi in my master's, I would like to do defense. I would like to do more of this kind of research. And luckily, he had just got a position or enough funding for my current position, and asked me, actually, I have this program of research, of community-based research, and I need to hire somebody, and I know how good you are at research, and I know that you work with the population that he works with. And so he was like, would you want to work with me for the next couple years, or for however long you want to work? And I said, of course. So yeah, really, it all is about like building those connections, right? So that's how I entered the field.
Okay, धन्यवाद. तपाईले डाक्टर डेभिड क्याम्बेलसँग चाहिँ काम गर्ने मौका पाउनुभयो हैन, र तपाईले के कस्ता महत्त्वपूर्ण कुराहरू सिक्नुभयो उहाँसँग काम गर्दाखेरि, त्यसको बारेमा पनि भनिदिनुस् न.
Yeah, for sure. For मैले Dr. Campbellको बारेमा धेरै discuss गरेको थिएँ. So अलिकति background on him. Dr. Campbell is a हामीले भन्ने endocrinologist or diabetes specialist. So उहाँ चाहिँ नि specifically healthमा diabetesको बारेमा patients like consult गर्ने र care give गर्ने. And so that's one part. That he also is what we call clinician scientist. So on top of practicing, medicine and caring for patients, he does research. And so one of the things that I learned about Dr. Campbell that I find, or like lessons that I learned from him, is that, and I think this is like a high achieving doctor kind of thing, one of the biggest lessons he's given me is he's pushed me to do things that make me feel uncomfortable. Or for example, हामी एकदमै used to हुन्छ हाम्रो comfort zone मा, हैन? And we don't really want to breach that comfort zone, and we think, oh, मलाई म सक्दिन, यो आउँदैन. He would see that like I have this potential, or he would see his students have this potential, and he would push us to do better and to go to that. So that was one big lesson I learned, is that you need to be okay with doing things you're scared of, and you need to be okay with doing things you're uncomfortable with, because that's when you will get those opportunities, and that's when you will grow as a person. And then Arkutis, more importantly, Dr. Campbell is an incredible human being. He chooses to go to his patients rather than have his patients come to him. Ahileको current medical systemको model चाहिँ नि is that patientsहरूलाई care चाहियो भने doctorको officeमा आउनुपर्छ, हैन? And for many people, like for example, हाम्रो मुवा बुवाहरू, like that's hard. Like how are you going to get there without a car, for example, हैन? And he recognized those kind of challenges, and he created this mobile clinic. So he has this little bus that he goes around and does diabetes outreach and like checkups around the community. And so and that's just one example of his humanitarian side, that he really goes above and beyond for his patients, and goes and does things that maybe would be more uncomfortable for him, but would be better for his community. So I think that's the biggest takeaway that I've taken from his, is, that to be a good person, to really give to your community, sometimes you have to put yourself, or you have to make things a little bit more uncomfortable for yourself, but you'll see that in your patients and their happiness and your community. So those are the two lessons I learned.
धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. जुनै काम गर्नको लागि पनि हामीलाई पेशेन्स त हुनु पर्यो नि, हैन? अनि तपाईको आजको कन्भर्सेसनबाट हामीले धेरै कुरा सिक्ने मौका पाइरहेको छौं. दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरू, अब भने म हाम्रो एउटा अनाउन्समेन्ट गर्न गइरहेको छु. यो चाहिँ एनसीसी मदर्स डे सेलिब्रेसन 2026 रहेको छ. अनि हाम्रो एनसीएससी द्वारा चाहिँ प्रेजेन्ट गरिने, अथवा हामीले चाहिँ मदर्स डे सेलिब्रेसन गर्न गइरहेको छौं. डेट रहेको छ मे 9, 2026मा। त्यस्तै गरेर टाइम छ 5 बजेदेखि 9 बजे बेलुकाको इभिनिङ 5 PM to 9 PM र भेन्यू रहेको छ एनसिएससी रिसर्च सेन्टरमा। हामीसँग जोइन भएर सबै ब्युटिफुल मदर्सहरू जोइन हुनुहोस्। अनि रजिस्ट्रेसन खुला भइसकेको छ, तपाईँहरूले रजिस्टर गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ, यो पनि जानकारी दिन चाहन्छु म। र हाम्रो रजिस्ट्रेसनको लागि चाहिँ हाम्रो एनसिएससीको फेसबुक पेजमा गएर हेर्न सक्नुहुन्छ। हामी यहाँ चाहिँ सबै मदर्सहरू मिलेर सेलिब्रेट गर्नेछौँ, इन्जोय गर्नेछौँ। आफ्नो कल्चरल डान्सहरू भयो, म्युजिक भयो, होइन, फन एक्टिभिटिजहरू हुनेछन्। साथसाथै डिनर पनि गर्नेछौँ हामी फ्यामिलीसँग बसेर। सो तपाईँहरू पनि यदि इन्ट्रेस्टेड हुनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि जति पनि मदरहरू हुनुहुन्छ क्यालगेरीमा हुनुभएको, तपाईँहरू सबै आएर मदर्स डे सेलिब्रेसन गरौँ र यो कार्यक्रमलाई सफल बनाऊँ भन्न चाहन्छु। अब भने हाम्रो धेरै दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरूले हामीलाई चाहिँ सुनिरहनु भएको छ, हेरिरहनु भएको छ। उहाँहरूको कमेन्ट पनि पढ्न जान गइरहेको छु। तपाईँलाई पनि अलिकति तपाईँलाई सुनिरहनु भएको छ, त्यो भएर। सो तेज नारायण शर्मा हुनुहुन्छ, एब्सोल्युटली फाइन स्पिच भन्नुभएको छ। धन्यवाद। त्यस्तै रूप्स घिमिरे हुनुहुन्छ, एक्सिलेन्ट वर्क भन्नुभएको छ। ध्रुव राई हुनुहुन्छ, शुभ प्रभात सम्पूर्णमा भन्नुभएको छ। त्यस्तै गरेर गोविन्द बहादुर जीसी हुनुहुन्छ, गुड मर्निङ भन्नुभएको छ। टिका ढकाल हुनुहुन्छ, वाउ सच अ ब्युटिफुल चाइल्डहुड एन्ड एजुकेसनल जर्नी, यु आर एन इन्सपिरेसन टु मेनी नेप्लिज फ्यामिलीज एन्ड देयर यङ चिल्ड्रेन। नानो अल द बेस्ट फर योर फ्युचर रिसर्च एन्ड कम्युनिटी कनेक्सन भन्नुभएको छ। त्यस्तै कमल पौडेल हुनुहुन्छ, गुड मर्निङ नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगेरी भन्नुभएको छ। त्यस्तै गरेर ध्रुव राई दाइले भन्नुभएको छ, गुड जब सरिना, किप साइनिङ, अल द भेरी बेस्ट भन्नुभएको छ। अनि त्यस्तै तेज नारायण शर्माजीले भन्नुभएको छ, हेल्दी इटिङ मे बी द प्राइम कन्डिसन्स फर हेल्दी लाइफ भन्नुभएको छ। र अर्को हुनुहुन्छ रञ्जना अधिकारीले लेख्नु भएको छ, ग्रेट भन्नुभएको छ। सो यो त भयो तपाईँलाई सुनिरहनु भएको र हाम्रो नेपाली रेडियो क्यालगेरीलाई माया गर्नुहुने दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरूको कमेन्ट। अब फेरि म तपाईँलाई चाहिँ अर्को क्वेसनतर्फ लिएर जान चाहन्छु, जो चाहिँ तपाईँको आफ्नो करियरमा रिसर्च सम्बन्धी नै रहेको छ, होइन। अघि तपाईँले कुरा गर्नुभयो डाक्टर डेभिड क्याम्बेलसँग चाहिँ अनुभवका कुराहरू गऱ्यौँ, काम गर्दाखेरि तपाईँले सिक्नुभएको अनुभवहरू कस्ता थिए भन्ने कुरा गऱ्यौँ भनेदेखि डायबिटिज केयर र हेल्थ केयर स्टिग्मा सम्बन्धी चाहिँ तपाईँले अनुसन्धानको बारेमा हामीले बुझ्ने गरेर भनिदिनुहोस् न, यो चाहिँ किन महत्त्वपूर्ण छ, होइन। तपाईँले अलिकति डक्टरसँग कुरा गरिरहनु, डक्टरसँग चाहिँ उहाँ चाहिँ स्पेसलिस्ट यस्तो हो भनेर कुरा गर्नुभएको थियो। र हामी आम नेपालीहरूलाई चाहिँ होइन डायबिटिज अब अलिकति हुने गर्छ नै। अनि यो चाहिँ कतिको महत्त्वपूर्ण छ, हामीले के गर्नुपर्छ र तपाईँको अनुसन्धानको क्रममा चाहिँ तपाईँले के गर्नुभयो यसको बारेमा भनिदिनुहोस् न है।
Diabetes चाहिँ अब I think अब obviously South Asian community it's really highly prevalent unfortunately. But I don't know if many people know diabetes ko duita huncha. So type 1 diabetes cha, which is is quite actually very different than type 2. Ani हाम्रो South Asian community ma chani type 2 ekdamai prevalent cha. So type 2 diabetes chani अब genetically पनि like risk huncha for sure, but you can prevent it. I know through exactly, I think somebody said like through healthy eating, for example. Eating less carbohydrates, refined sugars, and eating more natural, healthier foods can help you prevent it, as well as going and exercising, right? So strength training is really important because the more muscle you have, the more insulin your muscles can absorb. So that helps with diabetes prevention. But also, अब type 2 भइसकेपछि पनि you can still do these things like healthy eating, strength training, and exercising will help your diabetes outcomes, which means you won't have as many complications. तर हजुरले भन्छ थियो like the stigma around it. So अब we know that यो चीज गर्यो भने your diabetes risk goes down and your diabetes को adverse health outcomes को risk पनि कम हुन्छ by exercising and eating healthy. But it depends on what your economic situation is, I know. So when I go to the grocery store right now to eat healthy, like blueberries are like $7, I know. So blueberries are $7, but I don't know, Fruit Loop bag is like $3. There's the bunny ones, okay? Like you have to consider that some people don't have the resources and the means to maybe buy the healthy foods, or don't have the resources and means to have a gym membership, for example. And so, koile, I find that doctors forget that. Forget that, maybe some people aren't in financial positions to do that. And so there is sometimes shame and there is blame around when you do go get those adverse risks, or if your diabetes is not improving. There's that shame and blame there without thinking about, kina, why is this happening? I know like everybody wants to be healthy. I don't think anybody goes into their mindset being like, I want to get diabetes. This is going to happen. No, they want to do better. But resources, time, come into play. For example, my mom gave an example of Nepali mothers arule ekdamai family lai dincha, like time priority. How is that mother going to find time to go to the gym for herself, I know? And especially, or example, my mom loves to cook, but she cooks food for us. And so is she making herself a separate meal? Probably not, or it's a lot of work, I know? So those kinds of things. So we can't put blame and shame on these kinds of things. We have to think about the whole person and what they are going through and their circumstances and work with them to do better. So that's kind of what my research is about.
धन्यवाद. अब चाहिँ तपाईको आफ्नो फ्युचर गोल्स पीएचडी जर्नीतर्फ लिएर जान चाहन्छु. तपाईले अध्ययन गरिरहनु भएको पीएचडी यात्रा चाहिँ अहिले चाहिँ तपाई सुरु गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ हैन. यसमा तपाईको मुख्य लक्ष्य के हो? यो पढाइमा तपाईको अध्ययन र अनुसन्धान चाहिँ कुन क्षेत्रमा हुनेछ? यसको बारेमा भनिदिनु न. अनि सँगसँगै फ्युचरमा तपाई समाजमा कस्तो कन्ट्रिब्युसन र इम्प्याक्ट छोड्न चाहनुहुन्छ?
That's a great question. So मेरो PhD, fall masurun as a PhD student in the Community Health Sciences program with my Health Services Research specialization. Ani, I chose this program because I knew I wanted to continue health research, and I knew I wanted to do community-based health research. But more importantly, when you're thinking about doing a PhD, the most important thing is your PhD project and your PhD research, your PhD project and your supervisor. And so I chose this because I really enjoy working on diabetes care, and specifically looking at how do we kind of improve society's mentality around diabetes and people who are experiencing social vulnerability, such as homeless people or people who are going through domestic violence, for example. So मेरो goal with this is to continue working on health research for communities that are experiencing social disadvantages, so that we can create a healthcare system that is more equitable and more supportive of everybody rather than just the affluent. So yeah, that's my whole goal with this, and that's the impact I want to do for the community and for the society, or for society.
धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. अब चाहिँ तपाईलाई अर्को क्वेसन लिएर जान चाहन्छु, जो चाहिँ हाम्रो युथहरुको लागि छ हैन, नयाँ पुस्ताका विद्यार्थी भाइ बहिनीहरुको लागि छ, विशेष गरी क्यानाडामा अध्ययन गर्न चाहनेहरुलाई हैन. तपाईले के सुझाव दिनुहुन्छ? अब जस्तो कि सेकेन्डरी हाई स्कुलमा पढ्नेलाई हैन, उनीहरुको लागि सजेसन कस्तो छ, अनि ब्याचलर्स पढ्नेहरुका लागि कस्तो खालको सजेसन छ, र त्यस्तै गरेर मास्टर डिग्री पढ्नेहरुको लागि पनि त छुट्टा-छुट्टै हुन्छ नि त, तिनीहरुमा के कस्तो सजेसन छ?
Okay. म अब मेरो भाइ बहिनीहरुलाई सुरु गर्छु with junior high school को.
हजुर.
मेरो bहिनी is in high school, अनि मेरो धेरैहरु cousinsहरु छ, and I always think I give this same advice is मेरो experience ansar, I don't know about everybody, but high school was the most important time of my life in terms of setting my career up. So मैले के भन्छु भने, enjoy being a kid. I'm not saying don't enjoy life, but take that, especially the 2 years, grade 11 and grade 12, really focus, have your target in mind and focus hard on getting those good grades and getting opportunities and expanding yourself and your skills and your knowledge. That will come in so much handy when you go into university, and more so when you have a career and you're working outside of like an academic institution, for example. You're not in school anymore. Those things are important. So high school take everything seriously. And then again, really, academics is important, but try to find those volunteer opportunities or extracurriculars. That's how you find out what you want to do with the rest of your life. So again, reinforcing that, academic and school is important, but taking some time and looking at things outside of just your grades is also important. In terms of bachelor's, undergraduate students, undergraduate degree, especially first year Zadakiri, it's so different from high school. High school, Matsani, your teachers are there, really supportive. And so they're asking, your grade this to ramro bhayo na, kina testo bhayo, how can I help? Kasari garna sakchu? University ma, oh, you failed your midterm, that's on you. So and it's harsh, but like I said, when you have 1,000 students in a program, individual garna mildana, तर त्यो lesson चाहिँ के भन्ने भने, you need to take that initiative and ask for help. And I think मेरो example चाहिँ म first year मा एकदमै shy. I didn't like asking for help. I didn't like showing that I didn't know something. But that's not a flaw. You're not everybody knows everything. So you need to go and advocate for yourself and advocate for your help. And I think that's really important in undergrad because you're competing with so many students, and you just have to find that time. So when you go to university, there's something called office hours. Go to those, talk to your professor. And actually, when you go to those, you'll also create that network, right? Because not many people do go. So I would highly recommend using office hours, using the resources available to you from the university, and not being shy about that. And then master's go lai, I don't know, this one's hard. I found, quite funnily, I think I found my master's easier than my high school or my undergrad. So master's matsani, I think, find a good group of like friends and colleagues and really rely on them. So I got really fortunate, and I have wonderful friends from my master's program that really supported me throughout my master's degree, and really now too. They weren't competitive. We always helped each other. We always supported each other. We always uplifted each other. So try to find those people, because those people are the ones that will be super important to you for the rest of your life, including helping you find career opportunities. So that's kind of my advice for those three groups.
धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद. अब भने तपाईँ हाम्रो समय पनि अन्त्यतिर आइसकेको छौँ. अब तपाईले हाम्रो जति पनि दर्शक श्रोताहरू हुनुहुन्छ, अभिभावकहरू हुनुहुन्छ, अथवा तपाईकै एजमा चाहिँ करियरलाई चाहिँ कसरी अगाडि बढाउने अथवा केमा जाने भन्ने खालको चाहिँ सोचिरहनु भएको छ, र तपाईले चाहिँ तपाईको कुराबाट चाहिँ उहाँहरू इन्स्पायर भएर आफ्नो करियरमा चाहिँ जान चाहनुहुन्छ. फाइनल सन्देश, मेसेज, त्यस्तो केही अझै राम्ररी भन्न चाहनुहुन्छ भनेदेखि भनिदिनुस् न.
Yeah, I think मेरो final message,
yeah, I know.
I don't think मैले एकदमै touch गरेको छु, but I think मेरो success is really tied to मैले मेरो passion follow गरेको, मेरो interest follow गरेको. And I think that's really important, is to go, like, I think I always say this, I go where my heart goes, and sometimes that's not always logical, but if it's something you're super passionate about and you have so much interest in it, you're gonna find ways to make it an opportunity for your career. Like, you just will. When you're gonna put in more effort than, let's say, of a article career that you maybe don't have it as much interest in. So really lean on what you're passionate about and what you're interested in, because that is ultimately the key to success.
धेरै धेरै धन्यवाद। किनकि अझै पनि हामी आफै प्यारेन्ट्सहरूले नै पनि एउटा करियरदेखि अर्को करियर चुज गर्ने होइन, आफ्नो बच्चाहरूलाई पनि त्यस्तो खालको सजेसन दिने र सानोमा छोराछोरीले जस्तो खालको कुराहरू गरे पनि म यो बन्छु फ्युचरमा त्यो बन्छु भने पनि उनीहरूको इन्ट्रेस्टहरू चाहिँ लुज हुँदै जाने पछि गएपछि हुने गर्छ होइन। सो तपाईँको आजको फाइनल मेसेज भनेको चाहिँ आफ्नो प्यासन अथवा इन्ट्रेस्ट के छ त्यसमा फोकस राखेर चाहिँ काम गर्ने भन्ने थियो है। दर्शक तथा श्रोताहरू, आजको हाम्रो कन्भर्सेसन चाहिँ हामीसँग हुनुहुन्थ्यो डाक्टर सरिना अर्यालज्यू, उहाँ चाहिँ पिएचडी गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ। र आदरणीय दर्शक श्रोता महानुभावहरू, यदि तपाईँहरू पनि आफ्नो भविष्यको यात्रा आफ्नो छोराछोरीहरू सँगसँगै अब निर्माण गर्ने अथवा उनीहरूलाई राम्ररी चाहिँ कसरी अगाडि लिएर जाने भन्ने खालको सोचमा हुनुहुन्थ्यो भने आजको हाम्रो एपिसोडबाट तपाईँहरूले पक्कै पनि केही प्रेरणाहरू लिनुभयो र हाम्रो सरिना अर्यालज्यूबाट धेरै कुराहरू सिक्ने मौका पाउनुभयो। आफ्नो छोराछोरीहरूलाई कसरी अगाडि बढाउने, कसरी उनीहरूको करियरमा साथ दिने भन्ने कुराहरूको बारेमा चाहिँ तपाईँहरूलाई जानकारी भयो भन्ने आशा राख्दछौँ। र आजको एपिसोडबाट चाहिँ म आजको कार्यक्रम तपाईँहरूलाई कस्तो लाग्यो होइन, कृपया सुझाव र सल्लाह दिन नबिर्सिनुहोला। र जाँदा जाँदै चाहिँ हामी जुलाई एउटा नेपाली एनसिएससीको अनाउन्समेन्ट छ। यो पनि जोइन आवर टिम दिस समर भनेर चाहिँ एउटा अनाउन्समेन्ट छ। यो चाहिँ तपाईँहरूले नेपाली मेला र मल्टिकल्चरल सोकेसिङ इभेन्ट एन्ड हेल्प अस स्ट्रेन्जर आवर प्राइभेट कम्युनिटी भनेर यहाँनिर रहेको छ। यहाँ चाहिँ ओके, जुलाईको 18मा हाम्रो चाहिँ नेपाली मेला रहिरहेको छ। तपाईँहरू सबैजनालाई आउनु हुनको लागि र हाम्रो मेला चाहिँ सफल पारिदिनु हुनको लागि हार्दिक स्वागत गर्छ। हामीजनाले ज्यू र प्रविधिमा साथी नमस्ते, शुभ दिन।